This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, good to be back in the seat. Good to be back talking local sports. Been off the air for 2 weeks now, dealing with an eye issue, hence the eye patch. So what better way to celebrate this than just with an old friend who, the only person I think who would be taking me seriously wearing an eye patch doing an interview, the great Todd Walsh, who worked with for many years at Fox Sports Arizona, Valley Sports. And you're a hockey guy, so you can appreciate an eye patch. So it's just so good to see you.
It's great to see you. It feels like you need like a parrot on your shoulder, a bottle of rum. You're listed as day to day, though, right?
Day to day, week to week.
Week to
Definitely
week.
not ready to do the big show yet, but we should. Yes.
Upper body injury.
Upper body injury. Spoken like a true hockey guy. So Kenny McGinley is here with you, and you guys are talking Arizona high school hockey. You're in the studio, and I'm like, April, my wife calls and goes, "You know Todd's here?" I was like, I had no idea Todd's there. I was going in to get an eye patch, and I said, I have to come see Todd.
Wow.
Got to talk to Kenny, and then went and got the eye patch, and we did this.
I secretly just came down here to see April.
Okay.
So
Makes
whatever,
sense.
you know, I'm just going to hang out the rest of
Yeah.
First of all, I just think it's so cool that you guys get to work together.
Yeah.
What a wonderful way to live your life. I'm serious.
No, it is cool.
How lucky you are to do that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I think about just getting here in 06, and Kenny, excuse us while we walk down memory lane and talk about Michael Barkless and Mike Roth and the great Margarita. And
God rest his soul. Yeah.
and all of our friends. But yeah, Todd and I worked together for years. There were times like when Columbus would come to town, and I'd get to do the Coyotes sidelines, and that was fun because they would always, you go interview Gilbert Brule, and I'm just from Texas, like, hey y'all, let's talk to Gilbert Brule. What'd you think about the
wow,
the forecheck?
Love that guy. Love that guy. So I gave you the Columbus game.
Columbus. Well, no, okay. So you and Graham Taylor did the ultimate for me because when I was out, when my time came to an end at Fox, Coach wants to see you bring your playbook. I got to stick around and freelance, and you needed help in the 2012 Western Conference Finals.
We did.
So
You're right. That's right.
It was. I mean, and honestly, I never made more money in my entire life working
Got an
playoff
extra
hockey.
month of gigs.
Yes,
Yes.
I was like, why didn't I do this sooner?
I remember that.
Yeah.
You were another layer of coverage, and that was cool.
Oh, it was so fun.
Okay.
And hockey, I mean, hockey plays in the desert. You've been here. You guys have been around, and you're bringing big time hockey back to Mullett Arena, right?
Well, I'm going to give that to Kenny because that's his domain. I'm just going to say this. You're getting sick of me saying this, but the fact that you've asked me to be a part of this has been one of the coolest ventures that I've ever had in my career. Obviously, I've been wandering the desert aimlessly, feeding ducks along the way and pondering my future as a Coyotes refugee. But when you texted and we met, I pretended like I was kind of busy, but I just couldn't wait to start. So the story is remarkable, how this whole thing has come together, and it's all your story, Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we thank you for being a part of it and using your resources like Mark to help talk about it. I felt bad asking at first. I was like, Todd's way too cool and important for us. He's used to the NHL. He's not going to want to talk about high school hockey, but we're trying to do something really cool here. We've played our state championship at Mullett the past 2 years. It's been incredible. The building is so alive, so exciting. We've had great games go to overtime the last 2 years. I can't control that part of it, but we hope to control the atmosphere, that screaming energy of high school, pure, authentic sports is just another level that, Mullett Arena maybe didn't see as much with the Coyotes games that were there. No comment about anything else with that. The ASU games are unbelievable in that venue, but it's all geared towards ASU, and that's awesome. We would love that. But when you have competing schools with high school energy, it just gets raised to a whole nother level, and we want to build on that, bring it to more people, showcase that hockey is still alive and well in the desert. We might not have the NHL right now, but we have the sport, and we have the purest form of the sport.
And he asked me to be just a part of this commercial that they've put together, which is one of the slickest things I've ever seen. And the fact that they wanted to extend the hockey iconic phrase, "We walk together forever," which I used in my farewell to the Coyotes last April, made it a no-brainer for me. But then when I watched it develop, and it just felt like such a perfect, natural progression. and I don't care what level hockey I'm around, to be able to put my feet back in the water of it. And it reminds me of why I spent 28 years being around it, because of the people that are in the sport, and that includes high school hockey. And you know, 18,000 years ago, I was a high school athlete, and I've
seen the pictures.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
I've seen yours, by the way. Yours are a lot slicker than mine. But I mean, I still remember. I remember losses that still resonate from 1982. I talked to Rob McClanahan for you the other day from the U.S. Olympic hockey team in the Miracle on Ice, who lost a state high school game in Minnesota. His team was 24-0, and they lost in the semis. And he told me, this is 3 or 4 days ago, what the shot total was in that game in the first period. So,
wow.
And I know I know that you can relate to that. And that's kind of what I've been drawn to, is that this will be, for many of those kids, the last biggest game of that magnitude. So I think we all want to make it remarkable. And to do that, we're just trying to up the energy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How much is this sort of a vibe check of hockey in the desert, where it's at right now, and how much of it is even looking at where it's going, kids coming out for hockey, growth long term here?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't think of a stronger measuring stick than if we were to tell the entire hockey world across North America that we got 5,000 people in a sold-out Mullett Arena NCAA former NHL venue for a high school hockey game. There's one other place in the country or in the world that can say the same thing. Obviously, Minnesota is legendary for their state tournament for high school, where they sell out the Excel Center. We're a few years away from putting that as an ambition, but to be able to say we sold out a game for a high school game is as good of a hockey check as you can ask for in a desert market like Arizona. For the future generation, like, talk about something to look up to and be ambitious of, where we're at right now with, we don't know when the future of an NHL team might come back here. I wouldn't be sitting here right now without the NHL being here. Todd wouldn't be here. There's, probably any of the kids in our league right now, a large part of that has to do with NHL hockey here. So we want to fill that void and keep the progress going as best we can without that market here. Give someone something to look up to, the next generation, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. Maybe they can idolize those high school athletes and playing in that game.
And I always go back to the fact that there was hockey thriving in Arizona long before the Coyotes got here, and there is now. I mean, if you go back, I'm going to tell the story. From 1959, they had a semi-pro team, the Phoenix Apaches. Their rink was right across the street from Brophy. If you go by that side entrance of Brophy and look across the street, there's a car collision repair center. Look closely at the building. There's a dome. If you can get around to the other side and look inside, it is a 1950s era hockey rink that just has cars in there being repaired. It is the same building.
Wow.
You had the Roadrunners and all their incarnations and all their leagues from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, up until the Coyotes. The Sundogs won a championship in Prescott Valley. There was a D1 program in Flagstaff at NAU, spawned Greg Adams, Kevin McCabe. I worked for the Ice Cats for years when Leo Golubieski was winning games. Now we talked about ASU. Grand Canyon has programs. I went and interviewed some adult men's league guys on Sunday afternoon at 2:00 at the Ice Den. It was 60 degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky, and these guys are going out to play hockey. There's open ice all over the place. The leagues, you can go on and on and on. To say that this place doesn't have a thriving hockey community is just wrong. It is. The head got chopped off. So I love it's like gap coverage in health insurance right now. I don't know why I have that on my mind. But anyways, that's kind of how I feel like what we're doing here is to remind people of that and repopulate something else. And maybe it's a high school championship game. We hope it is.
Yeah, we're working on the insurance thing, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk Cobra.
Todd's insurance coverage. Yes.
Thanks.
Don't play any hockey, by the way, and get in a fight.
No.
No. And by the way, if you're watching this, I keep instead of taking shots of you, I'm taking shots of me. I'm trying to do this with one eye.
I don't have no one needs to see any more of me.
No. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you're camera 4, and the two of you are camera 3. Okay, so we're just going to stick with that.
Thanks a lot.
Do we have any Austin Matthews? Any good kids that are coming up playing high school hockey? How would you assess the talent level?
I mean, there might not be another Austin Matthews in the country and the world right now. Like that's a tall order. That's one of those, him, McDavid, guys like that don't come around very often. We do not have one of that level in Arizona playing high school hockey. A kid like Austin, if you're at that level, you're leaving the state. You're going and playing for the national team at the high school age, like Austin did. He was playing for, we call it the US NTDP, which is out of Plymouth, Michigan, where they just teach you how to be a pro hockey player, and that's what they do, and they do it really well.
Mm-hmm.
We have college athletes for sure. We have alumni from these games in the past that are playing NCAA hockey. Going back many years now, we do have kids reach the professional ranks in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not superstardom like Austin, but it's really good hockey, and there's a lot of them out there.
And what's the format like? The bracket, the teams, who are the powers?
Yeah.
And how does the path to a championship look?
So they've just completed their 20-game regular season. Starts right after Labor Day weekend. Goes through 2 weeks ago in January. We're at the point now where we've got 12 teams in our highest level. The bottom 8 seeds are playing in what we call play-in games. So your first round play-in game this coming Saturday at the Ice Den Scottsdale. The 4 winners advance to quarterfinals to play the top 4 seeds, which is Sunday at Mullett Arena. Those 4 games are continuous, one after the other. One ticket gets you in all 4 games to see those. Obviously, the 4 winners advance to semifinals. Those are Tuesday night at Mullett Arena. And then the 2 left standing will play in the big show Saturday night at Mullett, February 1st.
Well, and the commercial that's out right now, I mean, that gets you fired up, and it kind of gives you the chills. I mean,
Chills.
I remember you and Trevor Hoffman talking one time about him walking in from what do you have? Hell's Bells? Was it Hell's Bells or Back in Black?
Hell's Bells.
Yes, and he was a Wildcat, so you had interviewed him. So
Yeah.
I remember you talking about the chill. I've watched everything you've done for the past 25 years, Todd. I know your content better than yourself.
It was a studio interview in the auxiliary locker room at Chase Field.
Yes.
How's that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I asked, did I ask him about the chills?
Yeah.
Walking out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got those watching the commercial. I want to go play high school hockey in Arizona. So
this was, the production level of that thing is second to none. You want to tip your hat to Frank?
Oh, 100%. I think he gets all the credit there. Frank Kraljic and Deep Sky Productions. He's a former coach in our league and youth hockey, and came to me a week before our state championship last year and said, I want to do some video stuff. And I said, Frank, our game's a week away. Like, let's look towards next year. And so.
Well, that's, I mean, in media time, man, that's like, deadlines. Yeah. A week. No, I'm joking.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
So we regrouped over the summer and kind of pitched this idea, and he came to me with this script that was written through Todd's voice. And he goes, I don't know if we can get Todd or whatnot, but I think he'd be the perfect one to speak on it. I said, I've had Todd's phone number in my phone for years. I don't think I've ever used it, but I think he'll remember who I am if I text him.
Yes.
And luckily it came to fruition, and then our sights were high on it. Our expectations were high, and it exceeded all of them by a mile.
A couple of things on that. That's a real coyote that we worked with 4 legs and a tail. That's a real coyote. We had to.
Where, did you like have that outside your house, or do you?
No, that's Frank and his crew. We had a coyote wrangler, and coyote came to the shoot with its companion dog. We had very specific rules on how we had to act around the coyote. No quick movements. You couldn't have your arms up high. Weren't supposed to look it in the eye, even though I stared at it for like 4 hours. But in the end, I posted this on my Twitter or X or whatever it is at Todd Walsh. But there's a clip that's about 2 minutes long where we have to make the coyote howl at the end. And the way to induce the coyote to howl is to howl. So there's all of us are on the set howling in the desert.
Yeah.
And there's a coyote on a rock, and about 30 seconds into it, the coyote's like, I got you. But I will say, can I do the Easter egg? Because there's a really cool story in that commercial.
Yeah.
It starts with a shot of the coyote sniffing a hockey stick and then walking away, and I'll let you figure out what that inference is. You can do that all by yourself. But that stick is a very special stick. That stick is actually it is the last stick that was a part of the Jay Lively Roadside Memorial on I-17. And I did a story on one of the last Coyote broadcasts about what happened to that stick after I did a story 10 years earlier about the stick. Jay Lively, if you don't know, was a young hockey player, aspiring hockey player in Flagstaff, skating at Oceanside, driving back home on I-17 on St. Patrick's Day evening, lost his life. A wrong way drunk driver killed him and I think 2 other people and a bunch of horses. And every year after that, because Jay Lively was such a part of the Flagstaff hockey community, hockey teams would go down and retape a stick and put it at exit 232 at New River. I saw it one day. I did a story on it, connected with a family. That I thought was going to be it. But this stick in the story of Jay Lively just keeps changing. And I found out that that stick was removed 2 years ago by ADOT because they were widening the freeway. The story goes, if you have a roadside memorial, they don't encourage them. But if they have to take them down, they do everything in their power to return the stick or whatever the memorial is to the family. So I will end this in a moment.
No, this is great. I'm like at your feet.
Okay.
Yeah, go as long as you need to.
You all right with this?
Yeah.
Still okay.
Yeah.
So I'm friends with the Lively family and Jay's sister Rochelle, and we helped her retrieve that stick from Arizona Department of Transportation, my old friend Doug Dinsel. And we started to think about the shoot, and could we get that stick? So I called Rochelle. She's in California. And this is how these things work, and you know how this is in this business. Sometimes you can't script it, and yet it is scripted. I told her what we were going to do. Is there any way we could get the stick? And she said, I'm going to be in Phoenix in 3 days.
Wow.
So we have
That's
the
not
stick.
a coincidence.
No, we have the stick. So that stick in the commercial, and you'll see it a couple times later in the commercial, the kids are holding it. That's the Jay Lively stick. And then coming up on the semifinal weekend, there's a team from Flagstaff that's playing or somewhere in this.
Yeah, they're playing in our first quarterfinal. Game,
I'm sorry, quarterfinal. Rochelle Lively's request was, before I get the stick back, I would like a team from Flagstaff to retape it.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to take that stick into the room with Kevin McCabe, who played at NEU, of course, and Jay Lively was his stick boy. So the tentacles of this, to me, are just like the family of hockey, because when you're in it, you know it. It's profoundly deep and profoundly respectful to every angle of it. And I think the stick is the great metaphor for this. So when you see that commercial and you see the stick, just know that there's heart and soul to it.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's okay. This reminds me of probably the last time we were chatting at the end of the Coyotes season, and I didn't want the post-game show to end because Todd was doing what Todd just did, and I could listen to it all day. The Toddcast.
Well, I appreciate it.
I'm glad. So are you going to be back doing some broadcasting, doing some interviews? I mean, your voice is on the commercial. What?
They have asked me. I offered my services, and I will. I'm excited about working that game in whatever capacity that we do, and I want to. I cannot. Here's what I hope I do. I want to talk to somebody that just won a championship. That will make it all worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic for you to talk to somebody who just won.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to do it, but I can't imagine for a high school player, like, they're excited enough about winning, and now they're getting the NHL treatment of
cool.
being interviewed by Todd Walsh. Like I think they'll be over the moon by that alone. It's just going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. It's going to be terrible for one of the teams. It's going to be devastating, but that's why we like championship athletics.
And for the record, I still have your text from April 18th.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I
that was always one that I didn't know what to say. I just wanted to be
I
like,
didn't either, actually. I just started talking.
And I was like, don't stop. Just don't stop the show. Yes. I wish it was still going on. I wish it was on loop somewhere.
Yeah. No, it had to end.
Well,
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I am now. This has helped. This has been like therapy. I mean, I went to Shane Doan's house the other day to talk about high school hockey. I sat down yesterday with Keith Carney, who I haven't talked to in 1,000 years. His kids played in a championship game here. To interview Rob McClanahan of the Miracle on Ice again to talk about this is like, okay, I can still talk about hockey here.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's, I mean, there's a lot of talk about it coming back. So are we fanning the flames here? Or are we on the verge of, and there's no way to tell. I mean, there's no news to break here. All we're doing is, hoping. But I mean, does it feel like this is the start of something that gains steam? You get people in the building. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, that was a really cool event. We should go to that every year. And we're a hockey town once again.
I mean, that's the dream scenario, right? Like, we want it to be on the calendar like the Minnesota State tournament, where every year, it doesn't matter what teams are in it, doesn't matter how they got there, it's the place to be. It's the event that's circled. And in Minnesota, it's more important than the Wild games are. The Minnesota State tournament is the hockey event for the year. We would love for that to be the scenario here for at least, 5,000 people, where it's just a one day on their calendar. They come support pure athletic sports. And like I said earlier, I can't imagine a stronger message to a potential future owner, to the NHL, to the hockey world, that we really do like hockey, or we know our team's gone. Maybe it wasn't totally within our control as a fan base. Maybe we have a really strong fan base and there were a lot of things playing against us, and we're still crazy for this game. We still love this game, and we want to be supportive of hockey in the desert.
And tell us, okay, so if you want to, you can watch it, the YouTube stream, but obviously we want people down there, and there's nothing quite like live hockey. I mean, it just doesn't. As much as I enjoyed watching you on television, it doesn't compare at all.
Can I just make a quick analogy to what I'm trying to do in my head is the same thing that I was doing in 1996 and 1997 when I was starting my NHL broadcasting career on the radio, which was trying to get people to come into the building for the first time. So, and also to create the doghouse, which we did in the obstructed view seats, trying to turn the worst seats in the house to the best seats in the house. But I also did a little promotion where it was, all right, I'm going to find one person that's never been to a hockey game, and I'm going to give you a ticket, and you're going to come in, and you're going to bring a guest. And then you have to tell the next, and after that game, we're going to do an interview. You're going to tell me everything about it, and then I'm going to have you bring a guest. And then it was like a pyramid scheme. But the point of it all was then for me, which is my very first hockey memory, going to an American Hockey League game in Rochester, New York, in my hometown. I walked into the War Memorial, huge hockey fan. I'd never seen it live. I walked in, and it was an explosion of sights and sounds like I'd never seen before in my life that only hockey can give you. I don't understand why it is, but it's true. And I think that would be the coolest thing if you get an extra 1,000 people that have never done this before, that have been listening to us talk about this, to walk into Mullett Arena, which is an intimate setting, and to see the two teams that are that passionate, the fans that are invested. And then you say to yourself, this is cool. This isn't just about high school hockey. This is about hockey. And then you're building again. That's my hope. I remember those days so vividly in 96, 97, trying to hook the person that had never been in. Just get into the game, because if you go once, you will go back.
Right.
It's not a great sport on television. Let's be honest. It's hard to watch. I can never see the puck. At least that's me. I had two eyes too, so or
yeah.
four.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
How have you not just cracked up laughing at me wearing this right now? This is
just so many thoughts going through my head.
Do you know how many times I've wanted to broadcast with you, and then I'm wearing a patch? But hey, I'm back.
We didn't we?
We did.
We did. Bit?
Yeah. It was kind of in and out. It was mostly like you're out, I'm out, you're out. Yeah.
So you got the Columbus game, huh?
Columbus. I got
okay.
What else did I get?
Sounds like me.
Poor Columbus with the ricochets all the time.
Well, okay, was Rick Nash in Columbus? Okay, yeah. So at least we got to see it, but he would always like take the night off. Yeah.
Just like me.
Right. You and Rick Nash were up in Prescott. Staring at the stars.
He gave the NHL one memorable highlight.
Yes, he did.
You're here in town, right?
Yes, he did.
That is shown on loop all the time.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
We were kind to be the victims of that for the hockey world. Yep.
Now, what's your background in hockey? What did you play? Did you play high school? Like, how do you take your own personal background and project the vision here in Arizona?
Yeah, mine's kind of an interesting one. Born and raised in the Valley. My dad was arguably super fan number one of the Coyotes in the
Todd
early
ever rope
days.
him in and interview him?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. And Todd go way back. We became known because my dad thought it was a good idea to wear plastic helmets and Hanson brother glasses to all the games, sitting in the second row. No, he's retired the helmets now. But and I was the 3, 4, 5-year-old kid wearing that get up as well. So just fell in love with the game, and that morphed from playing in the living room to once ice was built here, playing ice, and played through high school and immediately started coaching as soon as I stopped playing after high school.
Nice. I got one guy we need to rope into this. Jason Mons. Do you know the tight ends coach for Arizona State, the legendary Saguaro football coach who's now on the Sun Devil football staff?
I do not know.
His dad was on Bum Phillips' staff. That's why we bonded. But he, in high school, played football. He was smaller, played high school hockey. He said if I would have started sooner, I probably could have gone places. But he's super into it, super into Sun Devil hockey. I'm going to send him this podcast, by the way.
And send him the link to Ticketmaster.
Yes.
$15.
Yes. Okay. So all the links. So $15 to get in.
Yep.
What else? When do you arrive? What's it look like?
6 p.m. puck drop. Gates will open hour before. $15 general admission anywhere in the building. Our favorite activity of the night, we do chuck a puck after the first period. My personal favorite, small venue.
If you have
activity.
A bad eye, is that not a good idea?
Luckily, they're foam pucks, so I don't think we'll put out your other eye.
Okay.
We should be safe. We might need to get you a helmet, though.
Okay, please do. I'm needing that more and more the older I get.
You're Ubering, right? You're not driving, right?
I can drive. You only need
sure,
one eye to drive in Arizona.
Oh, is that the law?
Yes, that's the law.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm out of here before the night though. I still have an air bubble, and it's a whole thing. But I'm glad to be back.
Wow. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
By the way, he undersold his dad.
Yeah.
The helmet heads were a part of the whole Coyote culture in the first few years at America West Arena.
Yeah.
If you can imagine 4 or 5 guys wearing their slapshot jerseys and the helmets and the glasses, and they all sat together, and it was just a party. It was the place to be. It was the hottest ticket in town. It was new. They were the swashbuckling Coyotes with superstars. They fought. They played hard. And that group of guys were hilarious. And the Coyote game ops people got it, and they were just a part of it. And you'd see them around town, right?
I mean, we'd go on road trips, all-star games. We've made lifelong friends from wearing the helmets at random cities. It's become part of my DNA and my culture to the point where I still live and breathe hockey every single day. Which some people are shocked that I didn't end up in therapy full time from wearing a helmet and glasses as a kid.
How old were you wearing the helmet and glasses? Because I'm going to go try to find this in our library.
Oh,
I was 4 years old the first year.
Yeah.
And so we wore them until they moved to Glendale.
So it was a bunch of grown men and you?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. There were a couple other kids that were a little bit older than me, but by the late 90s, early 2000s, there had to be 40, 50 people in that section,
hilarious.
in section 111.
Yeah.
Imagine, you remember the Kurt Rambis glasses?
Yeah.
Imagine this in the hockey version with Slapshot. You got to have a photo to show this.
Yeah, here, let's see. Hold it up to camera 3 right there if you got a second. Is it? Okay, so you were there. I mean, 2012 was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. I mean, I saw Dave Tippett's living back here. I just want to, if I see him on the street, I might hug him and it might be weird. But the late 90s, the Ronick Jaw, trying to get over the hump against the Blues, Dally Drake, and how would you describe that moment in Arizona sports when it comes to synergy from the town, buy-in, and is that something we can hang on to as hockey fans?
Yeah, I think back because to me, Phoenix grew up and burst onto the international scene in '93 with Charles Barkley, and then the finals and Michael Jordan and the John Paxson shot and the 300,000 strong parade for a team that lost.
Right.
I still think the love affair with that team is equal, believe it or not, to the Diamondbacks in 01. I know they were the toast of the town, last team standing, the only championship we've seen at a major level. But there was something about that '93 Suns because it was the first thing. And then right off of the heels of that, they started playing National Hockey League games, 4 games a year at America West Arena, regular season games with a bunch of different teams trying to judge, will it work here? And that was all Jerry Colangelo saying, I think we can do this. So you fast forward just a few years and all of a sudden the Coyotes are here. And like I said, at that point, the Suns had dipped down. Barkley was gone. Mario Elie kept breaking their hearts.
Yes,
and now you've got.
I grew up in Houston, by the way. Sorry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you've got Keith Tkachuk, Jeremy Roenick, and Rick Tocchet arrives, and Nikolai Hobby-Bulin. I mean, these were big time stars in the National Hockey League, and they were here, and they worked hard. They were like Avis Rent-A-Car. They worked harder for every single ticket they sold. They were a team that was sort of star-struck, and they had those epic playoff losses in the first 3 years that just still defy logic being up 3-1.
It's a very Arizona sports story.
It is
Yes,
an Arizona
yes,
sports story,
yeah.
but then it was just a constellation of mistakes and errors and misguided ownership that finally collapsed upon itself. But that particular time, I mean, this place was where it was at, and the market is still in Gary Bettman's right there.
Yeah.
So
you could feel that. You could feel that at the news conference. Like, let's just get this done. And let's all right. So you were there. Okay. So what do we got? Can you hold it up to camera? Okay.
that's
camera
hilarious.
3. I'm trying to see this. Camera 3.
Camera 3
Actually, I'm gonna go. Okay. 4 is Todd. I'm gonna go camera 1. Hang on. There we go. All right. Can we see it? It might not be in focus. We see you. Move it. Having me gauge something with my eyes.
That's
right
actually
there
cool.
we go.
There you go.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
there.
That's cool. So you were how old?
I was probably 5 in this one, 5 or 6.
That's fantastic. Oh my! So and look what that spawned, and look what you can do for other kids who love hockey.
Yeah.
So I just wrapping this up. What is the goal? I mean, a lot of work obviously has gone into it. What is the goal? Not only for hockey in the desert, but just high school hockey and the AHSHA.
Yeah, the short-term goal is as many people as possible in this building for this game. We've gotten over half full the past 2 years, which is unbelievable, and they're the most attended youth games that have ever been played in Arizona. There's more space in the building. We want it full. We want this to be the ticket that people are seeking out. That's the short-term goal. The long-term goal is obviously to keep hockey moving and growing until we return the NHL at some point, which is a bit out of my pay grade. But we want to just inspire that next generation, like you mentioned, like give kids something to look forward to.
And I have an idea, and this is a week out. We probably can't get this done in a week. A cup for the winner. Is there a cup for the winner? Is there?
Yeah.
Is it? Can we is it the Walsh Trophy? What do we? Does it have a name yet?
No.
We don't have a proper name for it,
All
but
right,
there is a cup.
No.
Well, we're calling this the Toddcast. By the way.
Toddcast.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Have you been to his garage, by the way, and seen?
I have not.
Have you thought about giving away?
I think my garage growing up
Oh, there we
probably
go.
looks like the
There we go.
like the Todd
We're gonna
garage.
go camera 1. There we go. Boom. I can't tell that at all.
I don't know how to make it focus. There you go.
Oh man.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can I just tell a quick story?
Yeah, absolutely.
The
It does
reason
not
this-
need to be quick.
The reason this room.
I'm on like light duty.
Okay.
Like, I got to edit this
All right.
podcast.
At some point, I got to go home. I've been here since 9:30. We took a break, and Kenny was kind enough to buy me lunch at Little Miss Barbecue, which I've never
Great
been
spot.
to.
Yeah.
We're in line, and the line is around the building, and a gentleman turns around and says to me, "Do you need anything else for Todd's garage?" That happens more than I'd care to admit, but by the end of our experience at Little Miss Barbecue, which was really good.
It's fantastic. Chris Cartman from Sun Devil Source is up there all the time. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
It
Might have been him who said that.
No,
Go ahead.
it was Jim.
Okay.
And by the end of the outing, Jim came back and table touched and his wife and wanted to know how I liked it because I'd never been there. And we sent him off. He's got a pair of tickets to go to the game. And that's the kind of thing that I love doing in situations like this because it's just goodwill. I used to do that with the Coyotes in the 90s. I was blessed with a big pile of tickets, always in my bag, always. And if someone said something to me about the Coyotes anywhere in town, I would go. But the problem was, after that ownership group left, I thought I could still have that. And the next group of people came in, and their wisdom was, you know what? Everybody wants to go to the Red Wings game, so let's double the price of it. And like I said, there was a constellation of mistakes. But this is why I feel so connected to this. To be able to do what we did at Little Miss Barbecue earlier today is the kind of thing that you have to do.
Right.
You have to table touch.
Especially in this town where there's so many stories, and I feel like this is a great story, and I would encourage everybody to go out because I can almost see it. I'm getting the Trevor Hoffman chills again. That we had a team, it's no longer here, but this is sort of the start, the high school hockey, and then it builds, and it's like remember how many hockey fans showed up for that high school that were listening to this podcast with the guy with the eye patch.
Gap coverage. Just remember gap coverage.
There we go. Yes. Todd, here is to you having more than gap coverage. Thank you for all of your coverage over the years.
Thank you.
And I mean, this is my friend, blip on the radar. I just think I love having you back talking hockey, and it has been so much fun to have you here. And thank you for just bringing hockey back to the forefront here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for listening to us.
Let me just try one more thing real quick, Mark. Can you just follow the light? Like,
do you know how many pictures I've taken of my eye the past week?
Okay, sorry. I hope you're back on the active roster soon.
Yes.
It's great to see you, and thanks for your support.
That's great to see you too.
All right, sort of.
The Extra Point Podcast is a production of 3TV, CBS5, and azfamily.com in Phoenix, Arizona.
Recording stopped.